Are you ready for a life-changing experience? Join us for the Straightway Spiritual Awakening Conference coming to the Nashville area. Mark your calendars for July 11, 2026. Doors open at 10 a.m. sharp. This is a powerful event focused on biblical community living, healing, and deliverance. Whether you are looking for freedom from mental illness and trauma, victory over addictions and strongholds, or physical healing for your body, this is your opportunity to find restoration and strength. Don't wait. Get registered today. Use the Eventbrite link on the flyer to register. We look forward to seeing you there.
All right, y'all. Shalom, shalom. Welcome to another Ask the Elect on Hold Fast Wednesday. We have a great show for you today. We have some awesome questions for the pastors, and I think y'all are going to get a lot out of this episode today. With that said, I'm going to hand it over to the pastors to give y'all a greeting.
All right. Hallelujah. Shalom, shalom in the precious name of Jesus, the name that is above every name. Hallelujah. Bless y'all, pastors. Well, I can tell you this, man. I'm happy to be in the land of the living, but you know what? I wonder when is the day is going to come that I'm able to come to a broadcast and not be tired. I mean, I guess there's a lot of work going on, man. We were working our rear end off here. I thought, surely, man, by now, shouldn't I be able to sit on the front porch, man, and drink me some pineapple juice or something like that, man? And well, I guess not yet then. Hallelujah. Other than that, hey, I'm going to start pushing the Nashville meeting right after the feast days. I'm going to start really pushing it heavy, man, on videos and stuff. And if y'all notice, our subscribers on the YouTube channel has gone up somewhere close to 3,000 subscribers in the last month. The word is being out. Miracle signs and wonders. We're talking about just since Passover. There's so many testimonies. You go from the DMV up until this point to where we had at Pentecost. Jesus is alive and on the throne, and he's with his people. And there used to be a time that people would say, no man can do these miracles that they do unless Yah is with them. Used to be a time people said that, man, they would recognize it. Nowadays, man, because we are so much lovers of selves, and we're mostly self-focused and self-centered and self-absorbed, you don't have too many people acknowledging when the true hand of Yah is working with a particular people. But that's okay. The work still goes on. I'm glad to be here tonight. Should be a very interesting show right here. Y'all be safe coming down for Pentecost. All right, y'all be safe on that road. Take your time. Take your time, because you ain't, hey, just take your time. You ain't in no hurry. Just get here in one piece, sober-minded. Make sure y'all pray for y'all get on that road. Glory to the King. Also, I got quite a few videos, man, in the chamber that I need to put up on Patreon. I'm going to try to get them up before the end of tomorrow. Got quite a few things I'm talking about. One thing I wanted to mention right here right now is that I'm under no illusion whatsoever at all. But, man, what we just got finished witness with this Thomas Massey election up there in that house up there in Kentucky, and what Trump and him just got finished doing in the outside influence of the Israelis, AIPAC and all of them to be able to control our elections. Now the people know for sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that our vote don't count. They know it don't count. I'm telling you. And like I've been saying, I've been blowing a horn, man. Of course, I have a solution for it, but you can't get 1,000 people together to do it, much less a country. And if they did what I got as a solution, I guarantee it would turn around and change everything. But most people are not willing. Here it is, the key right here: to suffer in order to change. To suffer in order to change. You know, those are the principles of the book right there. When you look at Paul, man, he never had a life of ease. Never had a life of ease. But today we want a life of ease. I want to also say this too. Pertaining to the show here tonight, or the broadcast that we have here tonight, every single week, it's on a weekly basis now, that I've sit up here and I've watched pictures come to me about people who have fallen away. And I always ask them, I say, are you surprised? Somebody got to do it. But we'll get into that a little bit later during the show. I already hear the greetings and salutations of the pastors. Pastor Corey.
Bless you, Shep. Bless you, Pastor Muir, my beloved family, Brother Mike Israel. You know, it's good to be back in the saddle tonight, you know, because I was just really thinking, you know, especially when I saw the content come through, you know, and I'm out, you know, just laboring because I know what this is about. And, you know, I was talking to some of the brothers the other day, and, you know, it's really about, have you made your mind up to follow you, Pastor Dow, in a work that either we can identify that is of the Master Jesus Yeshua, or it's of your own hand, it's of your own work. And I determined, because I seen fruit, that this is not a work that you have made up. That is just something that you have invited people to be a part of, because, you know, evidently, you know, things from that you said years ago, you know, whether it be about silver, whether it be about storing food, a lot of those things, Shepherd, has come to pass. And so what we got to understand, you know, and even as we talk tonight, you're going to see people truly reject what is of Jesus. They reject what is of Messiah. And we can't be surprised, because the word says that you're going to be hated of all men. For what? For my name's sake. So when we see that, you know that we're on the right path. And it's all, you have to determine that you're going to set your life down. You're going to set your life aside so that your life is pleasing to the Master, and that it is a life that exemplifies that you have made the necessary sacrifices so that Yahshua may be lifted up. That's what Pastor Dow does. That's what he's doing today. That's what he was doing when I found him. And so, and I'm not just, this is not about Pastor Dow. It's about, we should be serving the King. And can you identify in this ministry, can you identify in the leadership that Pastor Dow is following Jesus? Are we, who is following Pastor Dow, demonstrating that we're following Jesus because we're following the order in Pastor Dow that's following Jesus? See, you got to understand, saints. So, you know, my admonishment tonight is really listen with spiritual ears so that you do not miss the mark, because many people are going to miss the mark. Many people are going to fall away. People are going to give heed to seducing doctrines. It's on and on and on. So I just wanted to bless you all. If you still, you know, 10 toes down, if you still seeing that the Messiah is doing what he's doing among us, I encourage you to go even to the next level in doing it, because guess what? You, us, and all those who have the same sentiment in serving Messiah are the ones that's going to be the light in this time. Hallelujah.
Hey, Pastor Mir, before you go on, let me say something that stimulated thought here that Pastor Corey just mentioned. There used to be a time, many moons and years and decades ago, that we as men coming up, we was actually proud to say, you know, this was my teacher. You know, this was my teacher that helped me along the way. You notice the Muslims got that down to a T, man. They don't never back up on it, because there's a time when you're young and you're old. And as you get older, you're going to be an example to this younger generation, and you're going to teach them. You're teaching them now. We don't have any tact, any respect whatsoever at all for the order and the way, the customs and the traditions of the Most High Yah. I mean, we were supposed to be restoring the old past. I mean, is it embarrassing to say that Pastor Dow is my teacher? find a better teacher. You understand what I mean? I mean, you go to martial arts and stuff, you go to these dojos and stuff, and they'll be glad to tell you, that's my teacher right there. The day is going to come when you all going to be teachers. And it's just right to give honor and respect, regardless of what this wicked and perverse generation has to say. And it's sad that because of the corruptness of the minds today, we have to have a caveat and always say, well, it ain't about Pastor Dow. Well, we already know it's not about Pastor Dow. Those of us that's in the know, we already know it's not about Pastor Dow. We know it's about Jesus. But before many of you are ever going to see Jesus, you want to see the men that he put up in front of us and then not in front of you. And not only that, if you're going to receive a righteous man reward, you got to receive the righteous man. The day you reject that righteous man is the day your reward stops. That's why he tells you to know them that labor among you, and by their fruits you're going to know them. It's all predicated upon you to discern what truth is. You got to know them and know them for yourself. And then, just like we're not ashamed of the message, man, you're not going to be ashamed of the men that y'all put up in front of you, man, to be your leader and to be your teacher, man, because you know they're on point. And of course, as we look at this day that we're in right now, this time we're in right now, we're watching to see that everything that I've said concerning this last little rodeo that we went through has all come to pass. I was spot on from the very beginning of this as I snipped it out. And I give y'all the glory for discerning of spirits, discerning the spirits. And as we go, I continue to keep trying to teach people as I go to learn things. And I still learn from the assembly myself. Man, you wouldn't believe some of the stuff people do that I learned from. Just sit there and watch it, man. Y'all teach me and don't even know it. So we are in a position to where we don't know everything. And there's people that's been doing this for a long time, that's been in a position to not only live it, but to teach it to us. And we've got to pass these teachings along because everybody got the book in front of them. But everybody's not being taught out of the book. There's just certain passages and things that are ignored on purpose because they don't want your conversion to be closer to Messiah. Pastor Mir.
Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom to all the righteous. Bless you, Pastor Dow. Bless you, Pastor Corey, and my brother Mike. Bless y'all abundantly. You know, y'all are, this ought to be an interesting broadcast tonight because both Pastor Dow and Pastor Corey said a lot, but they said two things that really stuck out to me. But I'm going to say this. I'm not embarrassed to say that Pastor Dow is my teacher. That's straight up. Because, and the thing is when you look at it, Pastor Dow hit it on the head. We do live in a generation now that is embarrassed of their head. They're embarrassed of their teachers because it doesn't look to what they think the par is or what it's supposed to look like or sound like. And they're embarrassed of it. And for what? Even like Pastor said, this last rodeo that you saw that was in this ministry, consider it. Majority of, if not all of what folk learned about Jesus, they learned right here in this ministry. And you have to literally go against the word to sit there and deny for your hate for one man. Think about that. So what are you going to say now? Deliverance is not good anymore. You're not going to do deliverance. You're not going to institute and work the things that you learn of laying on of hand and commanding, opposed to prayer. You're not going to do it anymore because it was taught by Pastor Dow. Are you not going to correctly fast and pray anymore because you were taught by a man who properly told you how to fast and pray? You're just going to denounce and renounce all those things in trying to prove one man wrong at the end of the day before you can humble yourself and say that, no, I learned all of this under been being taught by this man that is following Jesus Messiah. And that's the problem. But every winning tide will come and you'll see people that just, they see it's like a fad. Something is nice for a moment, something is cool for a moment, and all of a sudden now they don't want no parts of it now because something may happen or something they didn't like or some way they didn't spoke to, they didn't like it no more. And it goes to what Pastor Corey said. Can you identify that your shepherds are following Jesus? Everything ain't peachy and creamy according to your flesh, man. It's just not. It's just not. How in the world can you have 3 pastors sitting in front of you and the Most High will give a message, and when the preaching and the teaching come forth, it's exactly what you have been reading or studying, exact subject, exact places in the book, and I'm talking about week after week after week after week after week, whether it be Shabbat service, whether it be Straight Talk, whether it be Ask the Elect, whether it be Lions Den, whether Pastor Corey putting videos out, that you could be like, oh my goodness, I was just reading this morning. And all of a sudden, here come this video just got uploaded 55 minutes ago talking about the exact same thing. Why? Because you're clearly are being shown that you have men of Yah that's in front of you that Yah is using to lead and guide you. You see? One thing I understand, and you should have learned this before the faith, and then now in the faith, it should have doubled and tripled down. Is when majority of the crowd is going, you should be going the other way. Straight up. Whenever you see groups and fashions and cliques of people just rise up out of the blue and they start talking this stuff, you need to go the other way or stay put where you at. Straight up. And you can clearly see it. And tonight's broadcast is going to be another example, because these questions that are lined up is going to address things that we see day in, day out, month in, month out, year after year after year. And you have to continue to address them so that God's people can hear, and those who hear and implement and do what the words say will be saved, and those who don't, they check out. So I'm really excited to hear the rest of this broadcast tonight. Bless y'all.
All right. So we are gonna move forward with the questions. We're gonna start with the first question, and it is regarding the feasts. And with the feasts coming up, we know Satan is going to be trying to distract us. Pastors, can you talk about how he uses people, places, things to throw us off course, and what we need to do to stay vigilant so we remain in the right spirit as we go into Yah's feast?
Well, I can tell you right now that this last rodeo we had, this should have been the perfect tool and a perfect teaching. Just the experience alone should have just let you see the scriptures, the words coming right off the pages, because when you read about Moses having to go up against Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, when you read about Joab and the way that he turned around and turned coat on King David and his successor Solomon, when you read about how the scribes and Pharisees turned against the Messiah, and you see how that every single prophet in Israel is killed. Every single one of them, but a few of them. And then you watch how the apostles went through what they went through, and they didn't do no evil to nobody, just like Jesus did not do no evil to nobody. This world is hell bent on destroying those that follow that which is good and those that are good because of the King and him alone. And when you watch these insurrections, when you watch these factions develop, like Pastor Muir had mentioned, and for here we are sitting up here coming to the feast, trying to enjoy and everything, we know that there's something off because we can discern. We can tell something's not quite right, and you got a bunch of people going behind the scenes having secret meetings, secret campfire meetings at the feast, separating and dividing, speaking against leadership, trying to overthrow present leadership. And then the people that's trying to so-called, quote unquote, overthrow, even though they don't have no power or ability to do it because they're not anointed for it. And they should have learned a very valuable lesson about not being able to touch Yah's anointed and do his prophets no harm. But because they get so full of their scribes and Pharisees and hypocritical spirit, they can't help themselves. Just like the spirit entered into Judas to betray innocent blood, the same thing has happened to these people. Now, if it wasn't so, then it's amazing how these people, they complain and they murmur about Pastor Dow, or they murmur about the way things are going, or way one of the leaders at the community or the pastors or the elders are doing things and stuff. And the truth is, all of those are distractions. The truth is, those are just sayings to distract, to get your mind to go down one way and view things a certain way. Because the truth is, none of those things were true. They were saying that to appease themselves because they already had it in them to fall away. They already had it in them to leave and kick the traces and go away. How do you know that? Because it ain't even a good 2 months. It ain't even a good 2 weeks sometime. That as soon as these people fall away and you see them, like the scripture says, if after they have been once enlightened and they have tasted of the heavenly gift and the powers of the world to come, it is impossible to renew them again. Why? They have fallen away. They have crucified the Messiah afresh. When people came to this ministry, they were excited. They were humble. They were pliable. Their heart was just ready to receive this word. And then after a little time of complacency, a little time of murmuring, a little time of talebearing, a little time of backbiting, a little murmuring, and even though we was instructed not to murmur, they do it anyway and think that they were going to go unscathed from Yah as if heaven wasn't taking note. And so these being of corrupt minds, these people of bad morals and bad theology and bad lifestyles, you can quickly see that Straightway had nothing to do with it. Pastor Dow had nothing to do with it. That's just to disparage the ministry and my name on the way out. But you can see when you look at their pictures, especially these wives, they go right back. The first thing they do is they despise the culture of Israel and throw that head covering off. They go right back to the Gentiles and they're smiling. They love it too, man. They are enjoying themselves. They put that makeup back on their face. They put that jewelry, their nose jewelry and stuff, and they begin to doll themselves up. And that's how you know that the man has been effeminized by the woman. Because if you can so quickly leave the customs, if you can leave the statutes, the laws, the heritage, and forget about all the scriptures, we wasn't the problem. Straightway wasn't the problem. Yah was the problem. They no longer wanted to serve Yah anymore. The scriptures teach us that while we are called to love each other, love of the brother and love each other, it also teaches us with a well balance that we ought to distance ourselves from people who distract us from the faith and try to lead us into sin. The Bible makes sure that we have boundaries. Most people don't like talking about boundaries. I love talking about boundaries because you have to have boundaries, because boundaries are necessary for our spiritual protection, and they're necessary for everybody's personal growth. And they're also necessary for your family's protection. Now, Paul said over in 1 Corinthians 15:33, he says, be not deceived. Bad company corrupts good morals. That's from the Amplified. Bad company corrupts good morals. That will bring about a distraction. And it's hoping that you're being distracted and you'll end up going to spit in somebody else's ear, even though there's no 2 or 3 witnesses. There's just hearsays, heresies. There's nothing proof positive. It's just one person regurgitating and repeating what somebody else said. This is what the falling away looks like. There's nothing new under the sun. Paul also says in 1 Corinthians 5:11, and from the Amplified version, but actually I have written unto you to not associate with any so-called Israelite brother if he is sexually immoral or greedy, or is an idolater, or devoted to anything that takes the place of Yah, or is a reviler. A reviler is one who insults or slanders or otherwise verbally abuses others. I mean, when we read this, names and faces pop up in our head and mind who these people were. But we end up with these evil, sympathetic soul ties and stuff, and we forget to judge fruit because we have made these people our friends and think that they're above judgment. Nobody is. One who insults or slanders or otherwise verbally abuses other, or is a drunkard or a swindler. A swindler. We found out a lot of brethren or so-called brethren that used to be a part of that, they're swindlers. You must not so much as eat with such a person. The book gives us the boundaries and the limitations of don't even fellowship, don't even eat with such a person. Why? Because you'll end up being a partaker of their sins. All right. Hey, babe, my son is knocking on the door. Matthew 10:14 says, whosoever does not welcome you nor listen to your message. Y'all pay attention to this, pastors. As you leave that house or that city, shake the dust from off your feet in contempt, breaking all ties. Last one I got on this, James 4:11 and 12. Do not speak evil against another. Brothers, the one who speaks against a brother or judges his brother speaks evil against the law and judges the law. But if you judge the law, you are not a doer of the law, but a judge. There is only one lawgiver and judge who is able to save and to destroy. But who are you to judge your neighbor? Pastor Corey.
Yeah. My Jesus. You know, listening to you, Shep, you know, it makes me think about this, you know, because Mike, you said, how do we guard ourselves from these distractions? How do we guard ourselves from distractions, period? Not just the feast, but you got to understand something when you're talking about guarding this way, because Israel is a special something kind of people. I'm telling you, I personally been going back and looking at what Yah is saying about his own people. Yah know who we are. And so, you know, let's take this over in Isaiah 48:4. Look what Yah said. All right. Okay, we ain't. Hold up. Let me try to open this back up. All right, Isaiah 48:4. It says, because I know that you are obstinate, and your neck is a iron sinew, and your forehead brass. See, I had to go back and look, because you wonder why people don't get it. And because people don't get it, they are easily, Brother Mike, they are easily able to be used as an instrument of distraction. They are easily able to be used as a opposition in the likes of Satan to tear down. And in some cases, if we as leaders don't watch it, stop us from entering in and being in the place where Yah called us. You know, here's one of my examples in Numbers. We're going to be in Numbers, you know, really quick here. We're going to look at Numbers 20, verse 8 through 11. Now, before I read, that account is where you could begin to see Moshe go through frustration. Frustration from what? Well, did I beget all these people myself? What would make a man ask that question? Because there has to be a lot of strife and contention and things that are taking place that is hindering and serve as a hindrance in you doing what you were called to do. You was minding your business. You went up the mountainside for a lamb to bring it back, and you saw a burning bush. Yah told you to take your sandals off for the place you stand is holy ground. But then you turn up and find out Yah want you to go in and fulfill something. How you know you want me to fulfill it? Take the staff and throw it to the ground. Well, what did he show you? Power. So now you know you're dealing, because your whole experience in dealing with Yah has been based on the power that he is, and he's sending you to do something. How do we as leaders forget? Because we're dealing with the distractions that people don't realize that they are. Look at Moshe right here in 28:11. Take the rod and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron, thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes. He says, speak. And it shall give forth his water, and thou shalt bring forth water to them, water out of the rock, so that thou shalt give the congregation and their beast drink. And Moshe took the rod from before Yahweh as he commanded him, and Moshe and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock. Now watch this. Look how Moshe spoke to them. And he said unto them, hear now, you rebels. Must we fetch you water out of this rock? So you can tell he was frustrated with what was going on, because obviously the mission was to get Israel out of Egypt and into the land that was promised to the forefathers. But along the way, it bring about an action that caused Moshe right here, verse 11, and Moshe lifted his hand. He didn't say he lifted his hand. And with his rod, he smote the rock twice, and water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beast also. Now, do you think at that moment that they gave a damn that Moshe just perverted what the instructions of the Most High Yah was meant for him to do? No, they didn't care as long as they got with what they want. And that's what people come around to do. They come around, and if they can't get their way, if they can't have things the way they want, they don't agree with you. They don't agree with what's going on. All they care about there is that what you're doing and what is supposed to be going on is not going forth, because it ain't coming from them. It ain't by them. And this people have these different type of mindsets, and you got to really start to pay attention to saints around you that don't know how to die to self. When saints don't know how to die to self, they bring about things that cause these types of actions to happen. Real quick, Numbers 27, 12 through 14. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, get thee up unto this mount Abiram, and see the land which I have given unto the children of Israel. And when thou hast seen it, thou also shalt be gathered unto thy people as Aharon, thy brother, was gathered. For ye rebelled against my commandment in the desert of Zin, in the strife of the congregation, to sanctify me at the water before their eyes. That is the water of Meribah, which means the water of rebellion, in Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin. See, y'all know who we are. He already admonished Moshe because he know his people. And we got to know his people by who he say his people is. He told Moshe, you didn't sanctify me in the midst of this congregation of strife. So when I hear that, and I've been paying attention to it, I say, I got it, Father, I got it. See, you got to know that we dealing with people that's trying to tear it down because they're not in the right place. These people complain for 40 years. You mean to tell me they was in the right frame of mind? Complaining for 40 years? No, you ain't in the right frame of mind. So in essence, Brother Mike, what we got to do, us as leaders, we got to do what we started out doing. abiding in Yah, trusting in Yah, and making sure that we, with the authority that he has given us on this earth spiritually. See, when we have the authority in the spirit, then guess what? We got power and authority over all the authority of the enemy. And so therefore, by remembering that, then we got to move a certain way in our prayer life. We got to move a certain way in how we are guarding ourselves, how we are guarding what Yah is doing. And see, and that's where the strife come in at, because men hate that, especially when you hate authority. That's what it come down to. So that's just a bit of the understanding as we continue to attack what we're talking on tonight in this content. Hallelujah. Pastor Muir.
Jesus Messiah. I'm just sitting over here listening to what Pastor Dow and what Pastor Corey just spoke, and I can't do nothing but shake my head, because this is exactly what we've been talking about. Consider this question, man, because Pastor Corey let us flat out know in his answer just now, with the overall thing, what is that? Just a stiff neck people, we just don't want to do. And when you really could truly think about it, is why? Because we're never satisfied. We never satisfied with what Yah has done. He's done so much, but we're not satisfied. Consider this question. With the feast coming, you hear what he said? The feast coming up. Whose feast is it? It's Yah's feast. Okay? With the feast coming up, we know Satan is going to try to distract us. Okay, so if you say that right there, how many of us truly know that? I say that every single time a feast day comes. But you can even go deeper than that, because we celebrate Yah's feast every single week. It's Shabbat. Satan always trying to bring distractions. Think about it. With the feast coming up, we know Satan is going to try to distract us. Can you talk about how he uses people, places, and things to throw you off course? To throw us off course, and what we need to do to stay vigilant so we remain in the spirit. Okay, so watch this. I just did a video the other day. Because let's think about this. I made a statement that I know rub people the wrong way, but I don't care because it needs to be said. Think about it. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. You can go take a group of men right now and say, y'all got to trek through the woods for the net for 40 miles, setting up camp, picking it up, going through the woods. Y'all got to work together and get it done. In most cases, what's naturally going to happen? Men are going to find a leader. They're going to find those who are going to support the leader. Everybody else is going to fall in line, and they get the job done. But when you bring women in the picture, you start hearing murmuring, you start hearing complaining, you start getting that pillow talking, and then when you get weak men that turn around and succumb to that, then all hell breaks loose. Well, why y'all got to be talking about the women? Y'all always talking about the women. No. Pastor Corey hit it from one angle. Pastor Dow hit it from one angle. Now I'm going to hit it from another angle. Because it's the flat out truth. We know our people. Solomon said there's nothing new under the sun. So you mean to tell me that when they was in Egypt, they came out of Egypt, not only came out of Egypt, but Moses let them out of Egypt with all the spoils of Egypt, right? And you mean to tell me when they in the wilderness going back and forth, you don't got women in these men ear? How do I know that? Because they in their ear today. Never satisfied. How do I know that? Pastor talked about the last thing we saw in this ministry. You look at it. What did you see in men's ear? Women. And they're the first ones flaunting themselves, as Pastor said, right on this internet. Let me tell you one tall tale sign. It's always the ones that go out of their way to speak about how loyal they are. Whenever you see that, you know that's the one you got to watch. Because it's all the smoke screen. Because guess what? Nobody got to tell me Elder Rob is with this. Brother Trey, Brother Dylan, Brother Charlie, teacher, Samuel, Brother Lee, nobody, Brother John, nobody's got to tell me, oh man, then Brother Tone, man, they ain't got to come around. Hey man, I'm with this every day. I'm following this. Man, you a good shepherd, man. Y'all, they ain't got to do none of that. I know what it is. You see? And you know when something's off, as Pastor Doll explained. But what do you see happen every single time the feast come up? The word says that all men are to appear. All males are to appear. I've said this many times. What if the word said all females were to appear? We'd be in serious trouble. But the word said what it said for a reason. All males are to appear. So if you are a woman, what should that automatically put in your mind? Satan is going to try to do the same thing that he did in Genesis chapter 3 today. And what is that? Every single time a man has to have his mind right, his household in order, everything correct, because he knows Yah's feast is coming up. He knows the Shabbat is coming up. He knows these things are there, and he's trying to get the mind right. Satan is going to try, and he's going to try you first to get to that man. Every single time. You see? And this is the type of talk that y'all don't want to hear. And I know it pricks you on your side, and I know you're tired of hearing it, but it's the damn truth. Some of y'all just wicked, man. Because you know you'll have somebody quoting the word and telling you, Slim, look at what you are doing. Yah's feast is coming up. Don't I remind the community? I remind this community every feast. Yah's feast is coming up. And I tell to prepare, watch. I tell the brothers, and I know they telling their wives, Yah's feast is coming up. You see? Why? Because I know Satan know if he can get to the man first before Yah's feast. Ain't no man. A lot of these men, they're not going to be up and honest and tell you that it was their wife. It's one of them running around here now that do videos. That'll tell you everything that he saw was wrong with the ministry, but he'll never tell you the real reason why he left. And guess what? It was the woman he lay next to. Go to Genesis 3. I want y'all to see this again. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, yea, he has Elohim said, you shall not eat of any tree in the garden. And I'm going to skip down, right? Because we know all this. But look at what happens when she took the fruit. It says, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And I told the brothers, and I'm going to tell y'all, and I know I told y'all again the other day, you need to guard what they bring you to consume. Straight up. You need to filter and watch what is brought to you by the ones that are closest to you, what they bring you to consume. Straight up, man. Because if you don't and you're not watching this mess, then all hell break loose. All type of chaos break loose. Or you can just sit there frivolous and in your mind think it's just the best thing in the world. And then you just consuming, not knowing that you're drawing further away from Yah, further away from his people, further away. He asked the question again, what must we do to stay vigilant until that we remain in the right spirit? Watch the ones that's closest to you. And don't consume, especially your wives. Don't consume everything that they come to bring you. Now you can obviously see why I'm talking like this. So that'll tell you why, because it tells you that I done seen this mess right here. You see? And you got to ask yourself again, when does this stuff kick up? At its height, right before Yah's feast. Every single time. Why? Because we're not satisfied. And we're not satisfied in our roles. Go to Ephesians chapter 4. verses 1 through 3, and I'm going to turn it back over. I therefore, the prisoner of Yah, beseech you that you walk worthily of your what? Vocation. That's your calling. Wherewith you were called. That is your calling. So how do you walk worthy to that? Think about it. Whether you be, what is your calling? A husband? A wife? You see, most people don't think that. Off the break, they think pastors, teachers, elders. They think that so they can point the finger. They don't think that as, no. You got a whole household. Husband's wife. Are you walking worthy to that? You should be evaluating yourself constantly of your vocation, which you were called, and how you're supposed to do it. With all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love. That's how we're supposed to be doing it. Micah Israel.
All right. That was good. We're going to go right into the next question that we have here. And to a degree, it's going to tie in to what we've been talking about. Pastor Dow recently mentioned in a video I was watching that he did, it was yesterday, I think. That's when I watched it. But he mentioned that trying to get people to come together in Israel is like pulling teeth. And the question is, as times get more difficult and staying separate is no longer a viable option, I wanted to know if the pastors could elaborate on that statement about trying to get Israel to come together and get people to come together, and exactly what people struggle with most when it comes to actually coming together in unity.
You know, before I get into answer this question right here, I want to bust up something that is said over and over and over again. And I've got to some way, somehow figure out a way. I just pray that y'all give me wisdom, that y'all's people would hear when people are making a direct attack on Yah, his teaching, his doctrine, his way. Over and over again, you hear it systemically across the board. One of the first things they hit about straightway is, well, I don't know about giving up your life savings and turn it over to a man or something like that, and then trusting him for your livelihood. Let me go ahead and get this on record, and let me go ahead and set this record straight so that people will comprehend and understand. What I am saying to y'all and what the pastors are saying to y'all is exactly what the scripture says, who at one time many of these people embraced, and they knew it was the truth. But I want y'all to listen to me real close. Less than 2% of the people in the entirety of Straightway have anything to give when they come to this ministry and come to these communities. Less than 2%. But you know what I find out more often than not? We can sit here and receive people into our home as brothers and sisters and Israelites. And they can live with us, break bread with us, grow with us over a matter of years. They end up, we build them a home. They have a home. We pay their bride prices. But let some of them come into some money. As soon as they come into some money, all that, and put the screen down so I can see the reaction of the pastors. And all that we have spent all these years giving to these people, providing for these people, never once looking for anything in return, never once even complaining about it at all, just doing it because of brotherly love. As soon as they come into a little bit of money or they have a lump sum or something like that, all of a sudden they get this wisdom, so-called wisdom, to make an offense out of the ministry, and then they justify themselves, and then they go and kick the traces. Unthankful, ungrateful, unholy. Mind you, we poured time, energy, effort, resources, education. We giving them, and mind you, And many of these people, when they get to a community, they don't even have to work on a regular job. But yet and still, y'all under the illusion that these people are coming with hundreds of millions of dollars. And I'm telling you right now, it ain't even tens of $1. And you people need to know that, because people out there using this as a punchline, as an indictment against y'all, because we choose to live this way. What is wrong with people who desire to do exactly what the Bible says? Why is it evil? Because we chose to do what the book says. So now we got to question who you are, because now you're trying to put y'all on the judgment seat, because we're his people and this is what he commanded us to do. And I know what's happening. Because we live this way, it convicts you and it brings condemnation on you, because we live this way and you know that it's the truth. But this thing where these people are coming to the ministry with all of this money and giving up all these lands and they're selling it all, that's what you read in the book. But that very rarely happens in this ministry. More than anything, tell you what happened with Rufus Carswell. They came with zero, nothing, homeless. I provided land, a home, a community, and he was. I put him in a position of leadership. And you listen today, I get no credit for nothing. I've done nothing good. They would have a personal heart attack to have to admit that I've actually done them good in this life. Can you believe that? I think Pastor Muir is frozen. Can you believe it? But they would rather choke on their saliva and die and go to hell before they admit there's any good been done to them. Anything at all. It is ridiculous. See, you people are being deceived by master deceivers, Judases. And you need to know this. Now, getting to the people to come together is like IT. Man, I've talked about this so much, I'm blue in the face. I would rather hear the pastors from this one. But I will tell you this. I will tell you this. When people come to this, I've seen people come to this gate, fall down on their knees, glad that they made it, throw dust up in the air. Mother Carol and I come walking out. They come kiss our feet and everything, grab hold of our clothes and everything, so happy. Then what happens? Later on, they end up around one of these disgruntled saints, babes, somebody they offended, and the next thing you know, all that joy that they had is gone. Somebody made a song about fleeing a sinking ship. And guess what? They sink. Their ship is the one that sank. Just because you got all these people out here against what Yah's already prescribed in his word doesn't mean that Yah is wrong. As Mac is right. And straightway is a mirror, a reflection of the truth of Yah. It's amazing how that once these people have been here and they get back out in the world, it seems like they enjoy the world more than they did when they first left it. It's just like leaving Egypt. They want to return. So remember, you cannot make people believe this book. I don't care what you have to do. They have to be able to keep themselves in the love of Yah for themselves. And one day you're going to realize that they were sincerely deceived. Now the law says in Leviticus 20, verse 26, and ye shall be holy unto me, for I am Yahweh, am holy, and have severed you from other people that you should be mine. Then when Yahshua comes along, he makes sure the severing cuts all the way down to the family line. The Most High, because he's jealous of what the price he's paid for us. And he don't want to share us with nobody. Now look at this. The message is still right from the very beginning. When Yah took Abraham out of the land of the Ur of the Chaldeans, he separated him. When he took the Israelites and he put them into the land of Goshen, he had them separated from the Mizrahites or the Egyptians. When we were in captivity, we were separated. And we were always together with each other. Today, you got these fake, false, phony, anti-Messiah, anti-Christ people that would have you to believe. And mind you, their testimony is only for themselves, because the word testifies against them and their testimony and their lifestyle. It's just that people are not discerning enough to be able to see the forest for the trees today. People are willing to accept anyone to say anything about Yah, God, or whatever it is as if it's the truth, and they refuse to look at fruit, and they refuse to discern to see what is right and what's wrong. It's a sad situation what we got going on today. But I can tell you this. We'll read this book right here, this passage, and I'll turn over to the scripture, to the pastors. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no one in any way deceive you or entrap you, for that day will not come unless there becomes a falling away or an apostasy first. That's the first thing that goes on. And who's going to admit that they're falling away? You can't go by what they say. Good words and fair speeches, they deceive the hearts of the people. You have to pay attention to what people do. What they do, it shows you everything about them as a man or woman. And that is this great rebellion, the abandonment of the faith by professed Israelites. The man of lawlessness is revealed, the son of destruction, the anti-Messiah, the one who is destined to be destroyed. 1 John 2:15, do not love the world of sin that opposes Yah and his precepts, nor the things that are in the world. If anyone loves the world, they love the world. The love of the Father is not in him. I believe the book. You can be deceived if you want to, but the book is right. We're going to stay the course. We're going to take our chances, and our chances already sealed by the blood of Messiah. We sticking with Yah. Pastor Corey.
Yep, and you spot on. You know, the love of the Father isn't in a lot of these folks. And that's why we see what we see. And we truly are having these types of experiences. And like you said, the book is true. It would be amazing, you know, to really look and see that these things are written, and then we get out in front of it and folks really change. But it ain't what folks do because they say it ain't me. They don't think it's them. And so this is what we have, you know. I mean, Pastor, I've been right here in this same place in this subject of what we talking about for weeks, because I just been praying, like, how can people be this way? Like you have found it. I feel like this is the ultimate find. You done found the truth. You done found his people. You done been edified by what he's done in our sight spiritually over and over and over and over, and yet it ain't enough. So when it ain't enough, then you got to go and again, you got to go back and ask Yah. You got to go seek a Yah. And I just told a brother this yesterday. Man, I don't know what's going on. Let me go on over here in the book. I'm going to go here because this thing ain't acting right today. I'll go right here. We're going to go over to Jeremiah 22. All right, go to Jeremiah 22. All right. Where we at? No, hold up. All right, I got the other way around. It's 4, Jeremiah 4:22. I was going 22:4. All right, so right here, you know, because I've been praying, because I'm like, wait a minute, if we done found Yah and you done profess the same thing that I done profess, why your walk, especially if you are 5, 10, 15 years in this, why walk don't look the same? Why my walk has fruit and yours don't? Why you can't see the error of your ways but the book point out clearly you're walking in error. And so we look at that. Look what it says right here. And I was telling the brother, I said, listen, what I'm learning and I'm really paying attention to is that I need to pay attention to who Yah say his people is. Look what Yah say, who he says his people is. Jeremiah 4:22. My people are stupid. Now, somebody get mad, wouldn't it? You'll get mad at me when all I'm doing is reading out of the book. Yah says, my people are stupid and foolish, says the master to Jeremiah. They do not know me. See, there we go. They are foolish children and have no understanding. They are shrewd enough to do evil, but they do not know how to do good. See, when you start at a premise like that, then we can really work backwards to really see, have these people, when they are, their actions are speaking for them. Their fruit is speaking for them. We are in a position to really discern and try to make an attempt to point them into the things that's going to help them truly walk and be converted and to be a new creation. But that ain't what people are doing. I'm telling you, people are hiding among the body, reaping benefits, drinking the wine, the libations, having a good time. But to do right, we can't get folks to do that. And so when you talking about pulling teeth, this is the undercurrent right here. See, it ain't no different than where Israel has been. I'm gonna go back over to Deuteronomy chapter 4. Look what Moshe said right here before he died. Verse 21. Now Yahweh was angry with me at the waters of Meribah because of you, and he swore an oath that I would not cross the Jordan and that I would not enter the good land which Yahweh your El is giving you as an inheritance. For I am going to die in this land. I am not going to cross the Jordan, but you shall cross over and take possession of this good land. Now look what he says. So be on your guard and watch yourselves so that you do not forget the covenant of Yahweh, your El, which he made with you, and make for yourselves a carved or sculpted image in the form of anything which Yahweh, your El, has forbidden you. Right? So this is what he admonished them. But then he turns around and come right back in verse 26 and says, I call heaven and earth as a witness against you today, that you will soon utterly perish from the land which you are crossing the Jordan to possess. You shall not live long on it, but be utterly destroyed. Now, how can somebody say that? I done spent 40 years with you in the wilderness. So fruit, obviously, 40 years of fruit, you don't get it yet. And so when you're talking about pulling teeth, it don't matter that people come over here. It don't matter that people see the Holy Spirit move. So I didn't come to the conclusion because, see, people will do the same thing year in and year out and expect a different result. And we know that means insanity. People ain't expecting the Messiah to move. People will not die to this flesh to save them. And so this is why, Brother Mike, we hear all this complaining. This is why they're always analyzing and looking and just really starting things that don't have nothing to do with this walk of salvation. And I'm telling you, you have to pay attention, saints. And all I'm doing, pastors landing on thick, and all I'm doing is coming by and putting little nuggets on the side of the road so we can be on the same page, lockstep. Because really what has to happen, saints, we have to be on guard so much, especially we know Yeshua said he coming back for a church without a spot or blemish. Man, we got to be on guard to make sure that we don't allow ourselves to be subject to people like that. That's why you're hearing Pastor Dow talking about separate from these people. And he ain't making it up. It's what's written in the word, because when you separate from, look what happened. Where is the resemblance of Yah? I just seen a picture last night that a brother sent me of a sister. It was unbelievable. I didn't even know you had breasts like that. I ain't even never seen it. I looked there, I said, man, this is crazy. This don't even make sense. I know she horned, and I know she getting ready to get more mowed down and turn more times than a doorknob, than Pastor Dow say. See, because these folks are unconverted. So how do you leave Yah and go look like a whore? Pastor Muir.
No, you're right. Because I've seen a few pictures too. Don't make no sense. I be seeing some pictures. I said, look at this mess, man. And like Pastor Dow said, you don't understand. These folk them been amongst us and they never look. When you look at it, the word says they went out from us because they were never of us. These folk be amongst us and did not love Jesus. Because how you in this for years and 1 week later you out there like that? 2 weeks later you out there like that? Like with no conscience, nothing. Nothing is like, man, nothing. It's crazy. I'm gonna touch on what Pastor Dow said, and then I'm gonna go back too, because think about this. And I wrote here, that's the problem. People don't come with nothing. That's the issue. That's the straight up issue. He said 2% of the people that come to this ministry actually come with something. And then when they come with it, those are usually the ones that it's like, all right, look, this got to work. Why? Because I've given all. And I'm going to trust what this word say. And I've given all. So this is going to work. You see? But a lot of people don't come with nothing. And now, you know, when you say nothing, what's the first thing they think? Money. But how many brothers you see that don't come with even that, but don't want to give their time up? But they'll give their time up to everything else. Feast day be full. Brothers sitting around the table, sitting there, chilling, having a hee-ha-ha. But let it be a work site. They ain't showing up. You see what I'm talking about? And I'm not saying all, but you can guess what? You can see the ones who. Watch this though. Go to Matthew 13, read 44 through 46.
Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field.
He said that the kingdom, this is the kingdom of heaven. And it's like what?
Treasure hid in a field.
Okay, go ahead.
The which, when a man has found, he hides. And for joy thereof goes and sells all that he has and buys that field.
Keep going.
Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who, when he has found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it.
Now think about that. He found a treasure in the field. Mind you, he found a treasure. He didn't take the treasure and go get rich with it. He found the treasure and then went and sold everything he had. You see? And came back and bought the field. Now watch this. Same thing. Goodly pearls. Went, and what did he do after that? Kept the one at great price, went and sold everything he had and brought it. There's folk that come here that will say, I found the treasure. I found the answer. I found it. The Most High led me. Oh my goodness, how many people say the Most High led me? But they'll never sell nothing. You see? Which goes into the question. Pastor Lee recently mentioned that trying to get people to come together is like pulling teeth. As times get more difficult and staying separate is no longer an option, could you elaborate on the statement and explain exactly what people struggle with most when it comes to actually coming together? I'll tell you what it is. Dying to themselves. That's the problem. Don't nobody want to die. You ain't going to die to yourself. You ain't going to die for nobody. You ain't going to die for Jesus. And folks say, oh man, how could you make that statement? Because it's the truth. You can't tell me it's not the truth. You don't want to die to yourself. You don't want to die to the things that you enjoy, that your flesh enjoys. You don't want to die. That pride, that arrogance, that haughtiness, that straight up masculinity when you're a woman, men walking around on their feelings and emotions, you don't want to die. And that's the damn problem. How in the world you been around this ministry for years and you come year in, year out, year out, and you mean to tell me there's nothing there's at no point that you say to yourself that you can even appear to be brought low? That's where your reward is at. Because that's where Yah's gonna lift you up. But you see, people that see men get lifted up by Yah and think that the men did something out of the whack and out of the ordinary to obtain it. And that's why they come with their wickedness. Read what the word say. Luke 9, 23 and 24.
And he said to them all, if any man will come after me.
How many people say they come after Jesus? They say they come into this ministry to come after the king. They say, we found it. Okay, go ahead.
Let him deny himself.
There it is right there. Nobody wants to deny themselves. Nobody wants to die and pick up what?
His tree.
And do what?
Daily and follow me.
Daily and follow me. So the same way that our king took the stake and died on it is the same way that you got to take your stake daily and die on it. Last time I checked, with Romans 12, read the first verse.
I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yah, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice.
A living sacrifice, what?
Holy, acceptable unto Yah, which is your reasonable service.
So a living sacrifice, so you got to die. You got to die. That's the fix. That's why it's the struggle with most, because don't nobody want to die. A living sacrifice. And see, what people have in their mind is, well, if I come and serve, then that means I'm dying. Well, that's in the area. But you know the things you need to die to. You know you got to die to the feelings and emotions. You know you got to die to that pride. You know you got to die to these things. You know you got to die to them, but folk don't want to do that. But they say they follow Messiah. Luke 14, 26 through 33.
If any man come to me and hate not his father, mother, wife, children, brethren, sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple.
Okay, so he said, if any man come to him, how often do you come to Messiah? You come to him daily, right? You know the problem with this, though? We think that this right here is in the beginning. We read this, and you see the same testimonies, man. I found this truth, and man, my family started tripping, and nobody wanted to hear me, and everybody was saying I'm crazy. And they said I joined a cult just because I want to follow Jesus. And then I lost my family, and I lost this, and I lost that. And then you think because you went through that it stops right there. He said, if any man come to me. So guess what? He said, think not that I've come for peace. I didn't come for peace. I came with a sword. You thought that the sword stopped swinging. You thought that it swung in the beginning and it don't swing no more. It constantly swings. And guess what? The main one that's going to chop up is you. Because you got to die. You have to be cut. You have to be pruned. It's right there. But we don't have the humility to think and say, okay, you know what? This is true. Hey, man, this stuff on me got to die. I got to stay in a place of humility. I got to constantly see my wickedness and put that before y'all. Rather than me going in my pride saying, I can do it. How many times you said that? I'm going to be better. I'm going to figure it out. We good at that saying, I'm going to figure it out. No, you're not. Where's the humility to say, yeah, I need you to take this because I clearly cannot do this on my own. Show me where I'm not dependent on you and your word in this moment. and why I haven't overcome this yet. I cannot do this without you. It's got to be you. You have to take this from me. You see? Watch this. Keep reading.
And whosoever does not bear his tree and come after me cannot be my disciple.
Keep going.
For which of you, intending to build a tower, sits not down first and counts the cost, whether he has sufficient to finish it? Lest haply, after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold him begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish.
Look at what has happened in this ministry. We build communities. But folk came in this ministry not thinking Jesus. They came in this ministry thinking, what was one of them pyramid schemes? Multi-level marketing. That's what they thought. You thought you could come in this ministry and you thought I'm gonna be elevated by the amount of sales I get. That's how people treat the faith. Because that's what they thinking. They come here thinking I can be elevated in something. It ain't about you, it's about Yah. It's literally about Yah. And look what he said. Then what happens? They start something. They start to put something together, homesteads, communities. But what happened? The cost wasn't counted, and they don't finish it. Well, how you know you finished? By the grace of Most High Yah, that I stay in his face and humble myself daily before him, that happens. Because the finished work ain't gonna happen to the end, to the day he take you. That's when it's gonna be over with. Those who endure to the end, the same shall be saved. Watch this, keep going.
Or what king going to make war against another king sits not down first and consults whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that comes against him with 20,000? Or else, while the other is yet a great way off, he sends an ambassador and desires conditions of peace.
Mm-hmm.
So likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsakes not all that he has, he cannot be my disciple.
That means everything. So y'all can keep on, like Pastor said in the beginning, with folk coming in. When I came to Straightway, I had to give up all of my lands and all of my this and all of my that and all of my money and all of my that and all of my this. It was a funny thing, though. When we came to this ministry and we saw what it was, and we did the same thing everybody else was doing, we asked Pastor Dow for what we need to do next, and he gave us direction. That's what he gave us. He still gave. He gave us direction on what you should do, and then we started doing it. If you can't forsake all, that means monetary things, and that means that stuff that you don't want to give up that's inside you that you call dignity, but it really is pride. That's all it is at the end of the day. It's pride. The book says you cannot be his disciple. So like Pastor Corey said, don't get mad at me. I didn't write that. That's written in red. So likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he has, he cannot be my disciple. The only way you're going to be his disciple is through death. Bless y'all.
All right. That was good. That was real good. I was so locked into it. I wasn't I had trouble switching the thing over. All right. We're gonna go into the last question now. And this is regarding earlier this week, Pastor Dow had an interview with a guy, Rob Kowalski. He teaches, I guess, on basically biblical manhood, stuff like that. But anyway, Pastor went on his platform, did an interview, and something I noticed, somebody put a statement in there. The title, or they put a comment in there, and the title of their profile name was like helping people leave Straightway or something to that extent. And the reason why I felt need to bring this up is, and I think Pastor Corey hit on it a little bit earlier. It's these people, some of these people, because the nature of the comment was way off. It was bearing false witness, and it was just it showed the character of some of these people, and it also showed that they don't care about people getting salvation or anything like that. They just vindictive. They're trying to, but I'm gonna just go ahead and read the question. It says in the comments on last week's interview, an account named Helping People Leave Straightway or something to that extent made blatant, unproven accusations. What does scripture say about the character of someone who throws out false accusations that cannot back them up? And how does this highlight the critical importance of truly knowing people by their fruits? Meaning, we watch their actual patterns, actions, and how they move rather than just listening to what they say and how they say things. So with that, pastors, I hope I put enough information in there to build that out, but I turn it over to y'all.
First of all, number one, ain't nobody helping nobody leave straightway. Again, you got to follow what they're saying. You got to be discerning of what's going on. They're actually helping people leave the family of Yah. That's what they're doing. You're gonna find out that once they get out there, give it a couple of months, sometimes upwards of maybe 1 year. Them same people that so-called help that went offended and stuff, you're gonna find out that they're cold, they're hard, they're callous, and they're cruel. Excuse me. They don't even care about these people's souls whatsoever at all. Their bitterness against the way. Straightway, we're just part of the people that's a part of the way. They hate the way. They're trying to remove the focus off of Yah and put it on straightway, but the truth is it's really Yah. Because if anybody has any knowledge of scripture whatsoever at all, any discernment at all, you can come here and easily see what we're doing, and you can see that we're serving Yah. You can see the book in play. But people don't want to admit that because they don't want, just like Satan doesn't want, a testimony in this earth that there's literally a people that are doing what this book says. And again, I say this. If you don't want to live the way that we live, and here's the problem, because a lot of these people have been living 25 years this way, 20 years this way, 10 years this way, 15 years this way, and all of a sudden they done come up with a new revelation. No, they got offended. And their contentions is like the bars of a castle. They're not helping anybody leave straightway. They're helping people to leave Yah. Why? To fall away, to go back to the world. And you can tell they do it immediately too. Once they leave this, they conform back to the world, from the very world they were washed from. They conform to it so easily. And they're happy in doing it. Did not the Bible tell us that there was people that was going to do this? Did not the apostles tell us that people were going to do this? Why are we surprised when we happen? When we see it happen, why are we surprised? Why are we surprised when we see it happen, what the book already told us what these people are going to do? I don't know why we're surprised. People can say anything to persuade the minds, but to the informed student of the word, they see clearly what's going on. We are still doing y'all's work. People who they've been coming and going in and out of the assemblies of Yah for centuries. I don't know why people get so excited about it, especially when it's written. He already told you it's going to be that way. I don't. It makes no sense to me. It's clearly seen. They are clearly seen. Last part of the question, I believe it talks about people who are talebearers. Well, the scripture says that you should not go up and down. This is Leviticus 19:16. You should not go up and down as a talebearer among the people. Neither shall you stand against the blood of your neighbor, for I am Yahweh your Elohim. Proverbs 11:13 says, he who goes about as a gossiper reveals secret, or a talebearer reveals secrets. But he who is trustworthy and faithful keeps the matter hidden. And I'm going to say this. Just because somebody's mouth is moving, do you know if they're telling the truth or not? They could be fabricating something. They could be adding jelly on something. They could be doing anything. Just because they say it, is it the truth? Then why is it that when we speak, is it not received equally the same way? Because we're just going to go off of one person's testimony. Why don't we just go off of everybody's testimony so we can have a good balance in his word? We've had people say that they are personally groomed to destroy ministries. What does the book say? The thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. When somebody tells you exactly who they are, why is it that the scripture escape us? Why is it? I don't understand. Where's the discernment? When they tell you who they are, believe it. So the bottom line is, ain't nobody helping nobody leave straightway. They're helping people leave Yah. Because when you look at the end result, these people have no more resemblance to the laws, statutes, commandments, rules, and guidelines, the customs and traditions of Israel as we read in our book, in our scripture. They have fallen away from Yah. Now, watch this one. Hosea 4:17, Ephraim is joined to his idols. Let him alone. Leave him alone. Pastor Corey.
Well, Shep, you know, I got a simple verse. Proverbs 22:5. I'm gonna read it in the Amplified, and I'm gonna read it in the KJV. Amplified says, thorns and snares are in the way of the obstinate, for their lack of honor and wrongdoing traps them. He who guards himself, y'all listen to this, he who guards himself with Yahweh wisdom will be far from them.
Yeah.
And avoid the consequences they will suffer. KJV says, thorns and snares are in the way of the froward. He that doeth keep his soul shall be far from them. And the word froward, all right, Hebrews 61:41, perverse, crooked, distorted, false. See, you got to understand, this book's so full of wisdom. It ain't even a whole bunch to say, because Pastor just did a whole exhortation on these type of people and what they're trying to do. They're getting you to remove your feet from being planted. See, here's the thing. Watch this. I'm gonna go show you something. If it was not so, watch this. I'm gonna take y'all somewhere in Numbers 20. Let's go Numbers 29. Let me see here. No, 27. Numbers 27. All right. And I want you to understand this. This is from way up in the inception of Israel being a nation. And Moshe understood this very thing that we talking about, that people despise. If you see so many people left, everybody jumped on the bandwagon. You don't need pastors. And, you know, we all of a sudden we doing the doctrine of Nicolaitans. And all of a sudden, you know what I mean? You know, all they doing is a group of men trying to rule over people and rule over their lives. Okay, well then what type of understanding was this? Then in Numbers 27, right here, starting at verse 15. Then Moses spoke to Yahweh, saying, let Yahweh, the Elohim of spirits of all flesh, appoint a man over the congregation who will go out and come in before them and will lead them out and bring them in, so that the congregation of Yahweh, not my congregation, not the congregation of Pastor Dow, not the congregation of Pastor Muir, but the congregation of Yahweh will not be as a sheep without a shepherd. Then Yahweh spoke to Moshe, take Joshua the son of Nun, a man in whom the Spirit is the Spirit, and lay your hands on him and have him stand before Eleazar the priest and before the whole congregation, and give him a commission in their sight. You shall put some of your authority and your honor on him, so that the congregation of the Israelites will, the word you hate, obey him. If people was meant to run out here willy-nilly and do your will and do as you desire, then ain't no way Moshe would have spoke that to Yah. Because what was happening is that, of course, Moses' stint leading Israel out of Egypt was over, and Moses' concern was who's going to lead them, because they can't be without a shepherd. And so these very people who have run and are without a shepherd, they showing you what freedom look like. And if you're looking at it, it looks like rebellion. That's the image Satan gives you. That's the image Satan put before people, is that he paints a picture of freedom and fun and frivolity and all kind of bull crap that don't equal being in the stead that Yah can keep you. It's about being kept. Because guess what? If there was no need to be kept, then there was no need for Yahshua to come, because we all would know how to do it and do it well without anybody doing anything on our behalf. So it's just as simple as that. These are just wisdoms that you as saints, you got to go back and listen to this broadcast, and you got to hear the things that were said. And you got to really sit and think and ask Yah to open up your understanding so that you move accordingly, because that's what this is about. Moving accordingly, moving in the accord that's going to allow you not to have a misstep in this walk. And if you get separated to yourself, you're going to have many missteps. You just keep watching. Watch these people. Pastor Muir.
I don't have nothing else to add. You and Pastor Dow said it all. I mean, think about this. All of them say they're not following no man. I'm not following this. I'm not doing that. But all of them following men to leave. Like literally. That's what they literally doing. So guess what? Just as Pastor Corey explained, you're going to follow somebody. You're going to follow somebody in righteousness, or you're going to follow somebody in wickedness. You're going to follow. You can say all day long that you're not, but you're going to follow. A lot of people will talk about they not doing what the government say until their food get cut off. And guess what? They're going to follow and do everything that Egypt told them to do. You're going to follow. So you can stop with all this mess that I ain't following nobody and I ain't this and I ain't no man. I don't need passes. I don't need, they trying to lord over you, which is foolishness. You're still going to follow. That's why, I don't have nothing to say. Pastor Dow and Pastor Corey brought it perfectly through. I ain't got nothing else.
All right. We definitely man, the pastors definitely came straight down the middle this evening. Pastors, did y'all have anything else you wanted to add?
I had nothing. But I tell you what, I had thoroughly enjoyed that statement that Pastor Muir said. No, we ain't following nobody, but you listen to all these morons out here that lead you away from the righteous to go out into the wilderness to so that the wolf can devour you. It's amazing. And at the end of the day, just like Pastor Corey said, you still following somebody. If you're listening to somebody's voice and you're with them, you're still following. It's just the way it is. That's just the order of things. God, man. But they give you and try to make you think you have some form of liberty and stuff while they themselves are servants of corruption. That's just amazing. I just can't, man. It's nonsensical. It makes no sense whatsoever at all. Wow. Anyway, man.
Pastor, look at this. Numbers 14:4. And all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron, and the whole congregation said unto them, would Yah that we would have died in the land of Egypt, or would Yah would have died, let us die in the wilderness? And wherefore hath Yahweh brought us unto this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be prey? Whether it not better for us to return into Egypt? Okay, so watch this. They didn't want to follow Moses. They didn't want to follow Aaron, right? Look what it says. And they said one to another, let us make a captain and let us return to Egypt. You are created to serve. You're going to serve righteousness or wickedness. Either way, you're going to serve it. And everybody claims they righteous. But as Messiah always said, you're going to know them by their fruit.
And whether you say, let us make a captain or not, somebody's going to come forth as the captain. Mercy. We can't hear you, Israel. You're muted, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you can't make it up. People are following somebody. They're being led regardless. So
see, people don't understand that is the design, man. We're all designed that way. We literally all designed that way. I don't care what you do. You can be a nation, be a tribe, be a family, be a corporation, be an assembly, be a church, be a homestead. I don't care what you do. There's going to be a chain of command no matter where you go, no matter what you do in life. So for these people to promote some type of liberty and freedom or open rebellion while they themselves are servants of corruption, it makes no sense to me, man. I keep on saying it makes no sense whatsoever at all. Surely, yeah, I believe, y'all people are this stupid. Pastor Corey just read it. Yeah, we stupid. We are stupid. We are brutish. We there's something wrong with us. We got a damn screw loose. It's devils and demons and deliverances in order. Go ahead, bro.
And the thing is, these people will faithfully serve their job, but when it comes to serving the nation that we're supposed to be gathering together, that we, you don't see that. It's everything else. So, yeah, it's like I was saying. It's just, hey, they just don't love ya. That's it.
Hey, this in the show on a good tip though, man. So from DMV all the way up until this point right here, we've had a man come to DMV. He had 2 strokes. You can leave a big picture up, man.
Mm-hmm.
He had 2 strokes. The man ended up walking around like nobody could ever look at him and say, you ever had a stroke before in your life. We had a woman who had full-blown asthma, who asthma got healed on the spot.
Mm.
We had a young a woman, of course, you know, everybody's young considering me, had an issue of blood for like 4, 5, maybe 6 years and then great complications, lost a baby the first time and all this other stuff, man, and just could not stop bleeding. I mean, that's some serious stuff when you're a woman and you cannot stop bleeding. Imagine having to wear some type of protection month after month after month and it never stops. Her husband, came up, laid hands on her. The issue of blood dried up. Not only that, 7-day cycle of a period came and gone. And now she's ovulating for the first time in who knows how many years.
Wow.
Glory to Jesus. That's for every single one of these. Glory to Jesus, every single one of these. Then we seen the brother, man, that just threw his cane down and just started walking at the hearing of the message in service. Nobody laid hands. Nobody did nothing. He just took off by faith. Glory to Jesus. Glory to Jesus. And I'm talking about real Bible miracles. Then we all seen Brother Mark. All of us saw Brother Mark, man. Man, Brother Mark, man, he had this bag and everything on him and stuff, man. And every week he's getting weaker and weaker and stuff like that. He's got a monitor on him. I think that he was they was going to put him on a heart transplant list and everything else, man. And when he got hands laid on him, man, that back man went to the doctors. The doctors just cannot understand and comprehend what went on. We know what went on. Jesus is what went on. Exactly what went on. Jesus is what went on. Testimony after testimony, testimony. Then I just seen shoot. Man, that brother's 1 minute I got the brother's name, next minute it slips, man. Because I often get it mixed up with Callaway, but it ain't Callaway. It's anyway. Target. I just talked to the pastor about this brother name earlier. Anyway, so his wife and him been trying to have a baby for 8 to 10 years. 8 to 10 years. He knows ain't nothing wrong with him. He already got seed. He already got 4 children, 4 boys by another woman. Dang it, that brother's mind. It just keeps slipping. My mind, I don't know that brother's name, man. I know him every time I see. Anyway. So anyway, I seen him this past Shabbat. Come in, man. Wife is just as pregnant can be. Just as pregnant can be. What I'm talking about, again, in real time. I'm not going back 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I'm not going back 15 years ago. I'm not going back 10 years ago or 5 years ago. We're letting you know what is happening right now with y'all's people in real time. And guess what? There's many more other than I'm not at liberty to discuss. I don't want to discuss because some things are just too embarrassing that you don't even want to speak about. But we give Jesus the glory for being delivered, man. Who else has these kind of testimonies but y'all's people? Who else? These folks talk about straightway, we talking about Jesus. What I'm talking about. Who else? Man, we y'all's people. Go ahead.
All right. So, brothers and sisters, we appreciate all y'all tuning in. Also, don't forget, here in it's going to be in July. You'll see the commercial. We're going to run it right after this. We are having a conference here in the Nashville area. Sign up. The sign up information will be in the commercial we're going to be running after this. So don't forget to check that out. Get signed up. And with that said, we appreciate all y'all tuning in. You're watching Ask the Elect on Hold Fast Wednesday. And with that said, y'all, shalom, shalom.
Are you ready for a life-changing encounter with the truth? Straightway Ministry presents a divine appointment for the Nashville area, a Come Out of Her Spiritual Awakening Conference, led by Pastor Charles Dow, dedicated to truth and the restoration of the soul. This event is a beacon for those seeking the narrow path. Mark your calendars for July 11, 2026. Doors open at 10 o'clock a.m. sharp for a powerful day focused on biblical community, deliverance, and total restoration. Whether you are seeking freedom from the weight of trauma and mental illness, victory over long-standing addiction, or miraculous healing for your physical body, the chains are breaking. This is your opportunity to find the strength and liberty you've been praying for. Don't wait. The awakening begins now. Follow the link on this commercial to register today and secure your seat. We look forward to seeing you there.
You give me joy, 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 joy. You give me joy, joy, down in my soul. You made me whole. You give me joy, 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 joy. You give me joy, joy, down in my soul. You made me whole. New brethren, I'm saying new to the end. I'm saying new brethren. I'm saying new brethren. I'm saying new brethren. I'm saying new to the end. I'm saying new brethren. I'm saying new brethren. You give me joy, 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 joy. You give me joy, joy, down in my soul. You made me whole. You give me joy, joy,